Hello and welcome. This explainer is based on the work of Professor Vihar Kishkinov, and it delves into a really foundational seminar that tried to map out the future of law in our digital world. Let's dive in and explore how they first began to chart this new territory.
So picture this, it's 2014. A lot of the digital challenges we talk about every single day now were barely on the mainstream radar, but a group of legal experts got together. The dean of the law faculty set the tone right away, saying they were there to tackle something both urgent and completely new. They understood that this digital frontier needed a structured academic plan before it became the Wild West.
To really understand how they built this framework, we're going to walk through 5 key areas. First up, why this new legal frontier was so important. Second, how they went about mapping the core questions. Third, the specific process they designed for debate. Fourth, what that debate actually looked like in action. And finally, why this was always meant to be a continuing conversation.
The purpose here went way beyond just a simple discussion. This seminar had a truly ambitious scientific goal: to actively help shape the evolution of legal science itself. The whole idea was to make sure the law wouldn't just be reacting to change, but would proactively meet the huge challenges of the information society head-on.
And this was no solo effort. It was a crucial collaboration between Sophia University's Faculty of Law and the Association for the Development of the Information Society. Having figures like Dean Penov and Dr. Angelov involved really signaled that this was a serious, top-level academic mission.
So how did they even begin? Well, the list of topics they drafted wasn't just a simple agenda for a meeting. You should think of it more like the architectural blueprint for an entire field of study. It was designed to systematically lay the foundation, pillar by pillar.
The blueprint started with the absolute bedrock principles of governance. They understood that before you can even think about regulating data and algorithms, you have to answer some fundamental questions. What is the role of the state in a digital world? How does the rule of law, a concept that's rooted in physical territory, translate to the online space? And what does open government even mean when data is both a public asset and a deep personal liability? These are the pillars that everything else would be built on.
From there, they moved to the engine of the legal system itself. I mean, it's one thing to have principles, but how does the law actually function in this new context? They dissected its core operations, everything from its structure to the very methods used to create and enforce it. This was all about making sure the essential nuts and bolts of the legal framework were fit for a digital-ready society. And what's truly remarkable is just how forward-looking this blueprint was. It wasn't just about solving the problems of 2014. It was about anticipating the future. They were already grappling with concepts like virtual legal reality, the challenge of applying real-world laws to purely digital spaces, and asking how legal education itself needed to evolve to prepare the next generation for this new world.
A crucial concept that was guiding their whole approach was de lege ferenda. It's a Latin term for the law as it ought to be. This highlights a really key mindset. They weren't just analyzing existing law. They were proactively trying to design the law of the future. The point is, they were architects, not just historians.
So they had the blueprint of what to discuss. But how would they discuss it productively? This required a clear, systematic process to ensure the dialogue was structured, open, and would actually lead to real conclusions. Their method was a brilliant 4-step cycle designed for collaboration and transparency. First, you set a clear, predetermined topic. Second, you have designated experts or rapporteurs prepare the foundational materials. Third, and this was vital, you publish everything online for open access. And finally, you open the floor for broad participation to collectively formulate conclusions. It's a fantastic model for systematic, open academic work. And this theoretical process was immediately put into practice. The very first session saw a fascinating range of presentations, showing how these big ideas connected directly to real-world legal problems.
The range of topics in that first session was just remarkable. They moved seamlessly from high-level theory, like the rule of law contract, which explores that fundamental agreement between citizens and the state in a digital context, all the way down to incredibly practical issues like personal data protection and the risks of e-commerce. This wasn't just abstract debate. It showed a direct line from those foundational principles to the tangible legal challenges people were already facing.
So, what was the ultimate legacy of this seminar? It wasn't a single, final document or a new set of laws. It turned out to be something far more valuable and enduring.
The seminar's greatest success was creating a space, a dedicated academic forum where these critical conversations could continue. The goal was never to have all the answers in 2014. It was to build the house where the questions could be debated for years to come.
In fact, they immediately proved this by choosing their next topic, representation in the virtual environment. The conversation was already moving forward.
And that leaves us with a final thought. This blueprint was drawn up way back in 2014. Since then, we've seen the explosion of generative AI, the platform economy, and global debates on digital sovereignty. So the question for us today is this: what new rooms, what new wings does this architectural plan need now?